got Week 2 action tonight, and there's no better guy to break it down and tell you how to make a couple bucks on the game than Jeff Nadu, at Jeff Nadu on Twitter. And he is with me right now to take a look at the Thursday night football game and how to bet some of the other games this weekend that is on his mind. Jeffrey, what's going on? Do you go by Jeffrey at all, or is that like no?
No, I do occasionally. My parents, people like that call me. But I will say, Mike, Tropicana, one of my favorite places on earth. I've been going there for many years. Probably shouldn't say this, but we're past the statute of limitations, so I don't care very much. I remember I used to go there for a long time. Let me just say that.
All right, so you were breaking the rules. I hear what you're saying. The sports book here, by the way, which is an eye shot for me,
Beautiful.
they did a great job. I told you last week, I can't really say that one's significantly better than the other. If you just throw a dart and say, I'm going to go to that one today, they're all great. They all have something going for them. Atlantic City did a great job with sports betting. But I want to get into the game tonight because I'm kind of intrigued. You got Washington football team favored by 3. This is a division game, and so many people talking about, all right, the loser of this game is going to be 0-2. It's up to 3.5 some places, opened at 3, so it's kind of not moving all that much. To me, though, Washington's defense, they kick the crap out of the Giants' offensive line, don't they?
Yeah, I think the Giants' offensive line might be one of the worst in the NFL. Might be the worst in the NFL, actually. I mean, it's really dreadful. But, you look at the Giants, Mike, they've won 5 straight games against the Washington, unnamed team. Look at 4 of them. They haven't even scored more than 20 points in those games, Washington. So, yeah, it's not ideal for them. But, look, they should really do whatever they want against this Giant front. As I said, the offensive line's not good. And as you know, what that means is you can't get the ball to the playmakers. You can't run the ball effectively. And for a quarterback like Daniel Jones, who really needs an elite offensive line, it's just a complete mess on offense. This team had very much trouble moving the ball, really getting into the red zone and then getting into the end zone against the Denver Broncos, who are very similar to the Washington Redskins. I also look, Mike, at touchdown percentage in the red zone. You look at last season, the Giants were second worst in the NFL at getting into the red zone. They don't score touchdowns. This is a mess of a team on offense. They're playing a great defense who actually didn't play real well last week but didn't give up any points. So I feel like at home, I think this is a great spot for the Redskins. I'm looking at it a little different. I'm going to play the Giants team total under 19. I think it's a good number. I don't think their offense is very good. Redskins, one of the best defenses in the NFL.
I kind of like that because I agree with you. The Washington football team defense, to me, is a top 5 unit in the league. They might even be better. The Giants' offensive line is, as you said, one of the worst units in the league. So this sounds like even if the Giants figure out a way to win this game, they don't do it by scoring a lot of points. They do it because maybe Tyler Heineke is not all that good. We're about to find out a little bit more because Fitzpatrick's out. So I like that Giants under 19 team total because if they win the game, it's like 17-12, right?
Right. And again, Mike, when you look at, as you know, and as we know in Philadelphia, the reason the Eagles have a really good shot to win more games than we think they will is because they're very good in the trenches. You look at the defensive and offensive lines for the Redskins, very good as well. Defensive line is very good. An offensive line, pretty damn good as well. So you win in the NFL in the trenches. I had this one at like 24-14, 21-13, something like that. I'm just focused on a Giant group. I don't think you move the football.
All right, a couple other games of note that I find to be intriguing. Let's get your take on. Jacksonville opened up 2.5. They're now a 6-point dog at home, and that's based on the fact that they lost to Houston last week. So is 6 a number that you should say, all right, maybe I'll fly to Jacksonville now?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't think Denver jumps out and you say, I really want to go lay 6 on the road with Denver. But,
right.
All of a sudden, Mike, I mean, as you know, the Jags they might be the worst team in the NFL. It's just that simple. I mean, they were dreadful against the Texans last week. And now you look at Denver. They have a quarterback now. Teddy Bridgewater is the best quarterback they've had since Peyton Manning. It's that simple. They have a good running game. I know they don't have Jerry Jeudy, but still a good group of receivers. I'll tell you, Mike, I kind of lean over here because the good thing about Jacksonville, for as bad as they are, I think Trevor Lawrence is still going to throw the football. I feel like they can get into the 20s here, and this one finds its way over. 45 seemed a bit low. But, yeah, I lean Broncos. I lean over.
All right, Jeff Nadu, looking at some of the NFL action. Jump in on them now. Indianapolis opened +1.5 up to 4 now. A home 4-point dog for a team that people thought could be a Super Bowl contender against the Rams.
Listen, the Colts were a few plays away, and I'm talking about, third and fourth down conversions. I think they were 0-4 on fourth down. The Colts, game could have went a lot different. Seattle makes a lot of plays seemingly out of the – I don't know how they make them occasionally. They're just very lucky. They're a luck box type of team. The Rams are overvalued. I don't think they played that well, frankly. I just think the Bears are terrible. Rams are going to be a big public play this week. Carson actually played pretty well, I thought. Their receivers did nothing. Their tight ends did nothing, and they still found a way to do okay offensively. I think they're in a better spot this week. As a home dog, I'll lean on the Colts and Frank Reich. Second week, a little bit more normal. I like that play.
All right, earlier in the week when, Jeff, you were on, Tampa Bay was a 8.5-point favorite. That's up to 13 now. So public money hitting the Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's early in the season. You're going to see moves like that. I think it's obviously people recognizing that the Atlanta Falcons are pretty bad, frankly. Is it a question, Mike, where you think, like, okay, maybe the Falcons can move the ball? I mean, they have a good offense generally, but last week, that was hard to watch, Matt Ryan. They have a good receiver, a good tight end, but can he move the ball? Is he capable of that right now?
Their line's terrible.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to make a lot of money betting double-digit favorites in the NFL, but if I had to play one this week, it would probably be Tampa. This kind of streams, 34-13.
Okay, one last NFL game from me, and then if there's one that jumps out for you, you have the floor. Dallas, +1.5 it opened. They're up to +3.5. They lost Lawrence now. They've lost their left tackle. I mean, the line's got some problems. So all of a sudden, the Dallas money is starting to shift the other way.
Yeah, and they're not going to have Michael Gallup, I don't think, either. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues. Their offensive line, as you mentioned, not going to have Lyle Collins. Zach Martin, he didn't play game one. He's coming back, and I don't know if he's completely ready. Look, Mike, I don't know if anybody noticed. I don't know how you don't notice because this team is they're like a college defense. Their secondary is hideous. Their linebacker group has no idea what they're doing. And Micah Parsons is all over the place. I think the Chargers are really good. I like their defense. I think they're good. They're really solid at quarterback. They have some good receivers. I know they don't have a great home field advantage, but this is a young Cowboy defense on the road for the first time. I like the move. I agree with the move. All
right. So do you have any other NFL play or thought you want to let the listeners in on?
Yeah, I got quick one total, one side. I really like the Steelers this week, laying 5.5 against the Raiders. Mike, you look at the emotional win the Raiders had Monday. Now you got to get past that short week, go on the road to really blue-collar, tough Pittsburgh. Mike, the Raiders have major personnel problems. Henry Ruggs not going to play, I don't think, in this game. Josh Jacobs had all sorts of turf toe problems last week. Darren Waller's not going to get us open against this defense. And you look at the offensive line. You talk about an offensive line that's in complete mess right now. The Raiders, 3 new linemen to begin with. Not going to have good this week. Probably not going to have Incognito. This is a mess of a line. I like the Steelers this week. I also took over Vikings and Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to be a great over team all year. Vikings corners, I don't trust. At the end of the day, the Vikings still found a way to get mid-20s last week. I feel like this one's first to 28, first to 30 wins, over 50.5 I played.
All right, so he likes that tonight. Team total under 19. Giants, Pittsburgh, 5.5, over Minnesota, Arizona. Let's jump over to a couple of college plays. And obviously, we got the stuff tomorrow night. One's UCF Louisville. That one opened at 7.5. It's now 6.5, kind of dropping down for the Cardinals.
Yeah, this game continues to tell me this is going to be close. It's going to be a shootout. Louisville's going to move the ball. Look, the problem, Mike, UCF has is great offensive team, but they can't get any stops. And now that this has moved to 6.5, the whole world's going to be on Central Florida. Mike, what I did, stayed away from the side, stayed away from the total. I know UCF's going to score. I think they get at least a 38. I played their team total over 37.5. I don't want to worry if this is 41-38. Just give me the win on the points. I had a similar situation with UCF. I took Boise against them in week one. Boise didn't win, but they hit their team total, and I won. So I just think that UCF's going to score. They'll move the ball against Louisville. I just highlighted them.
So UCF team total, you like that there on the over. All right, here's another interesting one. Like some of these games always kind of like, because when I see, like, when I see the line move so much, that to me tells me, like, all right, something's happening there. Now, one of those games that I find interesting is Texas A&M, 25.5. That thing's up to 30 all of a sudden against New Mexico. Now, is New Mexico that bad that I can lay 30? Or when you get to a 30 number, do I say, all right, that's when I jump in?
Well, look, Texas A&M is obviously, top 10. They're very good. But, look, you kind of liken this to the Kent State game in week 1. Look, Kent State is better than New Mexico. Okay, Kent State lost by 31. Kent State has a good quarterback, Dustin Crum. New Mexico, look, they have a quarterback used to play at Kentucky, Terry Harris. I wouldn't be betting New Mexico here. I thought they were really disappointing last week against a really horrific New Mexico State team. Mike, again, you see this in college basketball. You see it in the NFL. You see it in college football. You're going to see in weeks 1, 2, and 3 big moves on games. It's non-conference. People are betting this stuff quick. There's low limits. A big bet will move it. So, yeah, the moves aren't big to me, but I liken this to game 1. New Mexico is not as good as Kent State, and Kent State couldn't move the ball, so I don't think they're going to either.
All right, I think Tuesday we talked about the Army, Connecticut. 33 it opened. It's up to 34. Not a lot of movement on that one, but Connecticut may be one of the worst teams in the country.
I think they'll get some movement tomorrow. Late money will bet Army up. I think this will close 35.
So jump on it now, you're saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got 33.5. I'm very happy with that number. Look, I think a lot of people also think that their military schools, they're not going to score 33. Listen, last time UConn played a option team, 59-10, they lost to Navy. Army is going to score probably every time they have the ball. UConn is the worst team in America. 130 teams. They're like the little Giants. This team is dreadful. Very bad. This is 45-0 to me, probably.
One more from me, then you can kind of have the floor on your favorites. Michigan State plus 16 open, 6.5 now. That's a 10-point drop almost.
Yeah, obviously Michigan State's
against
a lot
Miami,
better
by the way.
Yeah, Michigan State's a lot better than people think they are, and Miami's not as good as people think they are. It's that simple. This is kind of one of those just hanging there. This is a lot like Auburn, Penn State. Is Michigan State – this is a barometer game for me with them. It's not a bettable opportunity. I like their team, though. I think their quarterback plays good. I like their defense. I like the culture building there. Not a game I really want to get involved with, just because I do think Miami's really just ready to pound the team and play well. Didn't have much interest in it personally.
All right. Any other college games on the card that you're interested in?
Yeah, my favorite play of the week is SMU, Louisiana Tech over. I got 65.5. It's up to 66.5. Mike, these two teams, all they do is throw the football. Okay, they're going to go up and down, two very quick-paced offenses. Both teams have quarterbacks that used to be at Oklahoma. Okay, they weren't good enough to be the starters. Still very good, though. Mike, both defenses in the bottom 10 in America in passing yards allowed per game. I think this game is first to 40 wins. Wouldn't surprise me. We saw a game last week, Memphis, Arkansas State, 55-50. If this game was 55-50, it wouldn't surprise me.
I like that kind of stuff. By the way, Jeff Nadu with a soccer winner today. I actually got in on it late, and I went both to score in the second half and hit.
Yeah, this game was wild, Mike. I watched it. It was a drabby, boring match for about 75 minutes. Then Belgrade scored. Crowd went nuts at the huge stadium over there. And then about a minute later, Braga scored.
I saw.
That was that. And then they got a late penalty in the 83rd, I believe, Red Star, and won the game 2-1. So, yeah, it ended up being a fun game at the end. But, you just need that one goal. Once the goal comes in, other team's going to turn it up. And we get Serie A this week, so that's back. I'll be setting the table today and then going back into tomorrow. We got a game I'll be on tomorrow on Serie A. So
Yeah, follow Jeff at Jeff Nadu. What do you? What's your video Patreon schedule coming up? Where can the people see you to get more?
Yeah, the next video we'll have is tomorrow night. I got a friend of mine. He actually used to play in the Premier League. He'll be on. We'll do some Serie A stuff, 5 o'clock, patreon.com/BMOC. And then we do 10 o'clock Saturday, 10 o'clock a.m. Sunday, NFL card, college card. I go over every game. Then we'll lead into college basketball eventually. So, you got to make money doing content, Mike, and I put out a lot of it. So.
All right, man. Well, I know that we got a lot here today. College football, SMU, Louisiana Tech, over 65.5. I gave you the NFL stuff that Jeff gave. Follow him at Jeff Nadu. Check out his Patreon. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, we just like to mix it up. Oh, by the way, I did see that it sounds like you're no longer a Sixers fan.
Correct.
Out.
I'm done. Listen, I love this team my entire life, but I told you, Mike, if Ben Simmons is back, I will. Listen, as a gambler, the only team I really love is that one right there. But, as a gambler, you become more and more taken away from being a fan. I'm just sick and tired of this organization. I'm sick and tired of losing. I'm sick and tired of the bad decisions. Call me whatever you want, but I don't like Ben Simmons. I think he's a failure, and I don't think he'll work here.
You're entitled to everything you want.
Thank you.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you Tuesday.
Mike. See you next week.
Jeff Nadu. Yeah, man. He's back on Tuesday and here on Thursday on the Sports Bash Live 97.3 ESPN with the picks of the week right there. He likes SMU over Louisiana Tech 65.5.